Jeff
Anytime.
Rothpan, welcome on behalf of the Congregation Beth Tikva's Raffle Committee. Thank you for joining me, and I really want to introduce you to everybody that's going to be at our show and tell you a little bit about let you tell us about your background and your
Okay.
history in the West Island at Beth Tikva and Hebrew Academy. And I'm going to let you talk because this is all about you, Jeff.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. My old friend Jason Gubin from BBYO and Beth Tikva and Lindsay Place High School, which I think is gone. So now we're getting old. Oh boy, stuff's gone now. Oh no. But anyway, it's great to see you. I'm looking forward to performing my stand-up comedy at Beth Tikva coming up. Can't wait. Very excited to come back home. I started really my comedy career in Hebrew school, you could say, at Hebrew Academy. It was unofficial then, but I remember being in school, regular school, and thinking, I can't believe I now have to go to another school on top of this school, and now I have to do Hebrew school. So I was a bad student, which usually leads to a career in comedy. So that's what happened. I started there, and poor Rabbi Zeitz had to put up with me and all my excuses. I refused to do homework, show up on time. I would just make up excuses. I was always in the rabbi's office. He was actually very good to me, and I'm a big fan of his. And he has a great sense of humor. At the time, I think I probably hit a few of his nerves, but anyways, I eventually made it. I even got a bar mitzvah. I made it to my bar mitzvah, did well, and of course, Rabbi Zeitz said, "We want to have you back here now that you're a man. We hope you'll continue your education. You'll continue to come to synagogue." And I haven't seen him ever since. Oh, it's not that bad. It's
he,
not that bad.
he's made Aliyah now. He and his wife are living in Israel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had known. I was performing in Israel, in back. It was February. Also, it's almost a year ago. I got to perform there. But next time, I will have to definitely tell him I'm coming out there and invite him to a show.
Uh,
But yeah, so he was. But yeah, he was the rabbi that bar mitzvahed me, and so I'm finally going to do what he said and come back to Beth Tikva. So.
well, we're looking forward to it. That's for sure. How did you left Montreal? You moved to LA. Um,
Yeah.
what happened in there? You were on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Uh,
Yeah. It all started actually with my so when I was becoming a real comedian after Hebrew school and BBYO, where I would sort of do sketches in some of our programs and things like that. I decided to a lot of friends like you, I guess, thought I was funny at the time or funny
we did.
looking,
We did.
whatever.
Both of those.
But we were all funny. Yeah, we were. I mean, we were a funny group, and I just decided, well, let me just see if I could make adults laugh because I was still like about 16 when I started. And of course, I'm getting a text while we're talking. I don't know if you hear the ding over there.
No, we didn't. No.
Oh, okay. I won't mention that again. But and it's spam, of course.
But
I'm
I
very
remember
popular
that
with spam.
it started at BYO with you winning the
Oh, yeah.
storytelling contest.
That's true. I almost skipped over that. That's right. It was a storytelling contest. They had these BBYO little contests, and if you win one in your own region, you can then go to the international convention and do the international competition of the storytelling. And they had other competitions of different kinds. And mine was like kind of a funny story about the new Jewish homeland being in Florida or something. I'm not even, I kind of like blocked it out, I think, because it was so silly now that I look back on it. But yeah, it was crazy. And I won the regional one because nobody else was competing against me. So that helped. And then BYO sent me to the international convention. It was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Starlight,
Starlight,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I won the contest between I think it was between me and a few other people, and we all told stories. Some of them were funny, some of them were just serious stories, and I just made mine a bit of a comedy routine and won. And then from there, I thought, wow, I made all these people laugh with my stories, and so. Yeah, we a comedy club had opened in Montreal. It was brand new, and it wasn't even called the Comedy Nest then. It became the Comedy Nest eventually. but it was called Hemingway's or something. It was a very
Hmm.
small little
Was
bar.
that Ernie Butler too that was
It
running
was
it?
Ernie Butler, yes, who started that one, and he had another club before that, which I hadn't. I was too young to even go to, I think, and I was too young to really go to Hemingway's. But my dad drove me down there, and I tried out some comedy in front of an audience. They put me up. I had spoken to them before, and they said, "Well, we'll try you and just see how you do up there." And I had these horrible ideas, but I had a lot of, a lot of energy and very. I'm turning off my phone here. Make sure it doesn't ding. I keep getting texts. I'm very popular with spam,
You
so
are.
oh, they love me. Yeah, oh, they love me there. They can't get enough Jeff Rothpan. So, but yeah, so I got to sort of do an audition in front of an audience at the comedy club and got some laughs. And I was only about 16 years old, and and these adults found my dumb ideas funny. And next thing I knew, they said, "Well, we'll start putting you on." And I wasn't getting paid, I think, for maybe a year or so. I would just go up and practice, basically being a comedian, which is how you kind of have to do it. You have to just go up there and practice, and you get better at it, better at dealing with audiences and unexpected things, and you work on your routine of jokes and different stories in the routine, and you kind of perfect them as you go. And so I started that young age, and it led to me getting into the Montreal Comedy Festival. And that was kind of I guess you could say, a ticket out. At the time, there weren't that many comedy shows. Like now, there are way more comedy shows in Canada. They have a comedy channel and things like that. Back then, it wasn't. There weren't that many opportunities except to play one of the national comedy club chains called Yuck Yucks. Maybe you can make a career, maybe doing that, which I not what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of go to the United States, and so the Montreal Festival was a bit of a maybe a ticket out if somebody at the festival liked what I was doing. And so, luckily, after years of performing in and around Montreal, including the Comedy Nest, which is what Hemingway's had eventually become, and then I think the Comedy Nest in that location eventually became another club. All of a sudden, I'm forgetting that one,
Yeah.
but there were like two of them at the time, and I would play those, and then eventually I got to the comedy festival and got to know the people at the festival living in Montreal, and they knew I really wanted to get in there. They didn't use a lot of local talent. They At the time they were using a lot of Americans and people from around the world, and maybe a few Canadians here and there. But I made it my goal to get in, and so I didn't do the Tonight Show there. I did the Montreal Comedy Festival gala. One of the first people I was on with was Tim Allen,
Hmm.
and he ended up getting the show Home Improvement not long after he had performed at that gala.
Right.
And, but a lot of American producers and agents and comedy club owners in LA got to see me and invited me out, not giving me any kind of a guarantee of any kind, but they all said that I would do well if I came out to LA. And I ended up getting an agent from the Montreal Comedy Festival, and I made it my mission then. Okay, we're going to move to LA, and my girlfriend at the time, who was now my wife, I was pretty young. I was about oh, how old was I? I think I was 21, 21. And yeah, so I was one of the younger people who had ever made it onto the stage for a gala, and I got discovered by all these Americans. And so I said, well, we're just going to get married and move out to the United States. And she was
Right.
American, so that helped speed up that process.
Right.
That was my big plan, and I ended up going out there to the United States. By the way, let me stop me if I'm going on and on.
No, no, this is for me, it's great history. So,
Okay. And then you can, and feel free to edit any boring parts. But anyways, including this part where I'm saying please edit, or don't, whatever.
we'll leave it there.
Somebody will edit it if, or God, geez, I hope. Anyway, so I went out to LA, and it was crazy because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I just knew that people had encouraged me, and now I was going out to this whole new place where I could do, where I'd have to be really good. I'd be playing against sort of, you could say, some of the best in the business. You're going on stage in LA. Luckily, I was able to get back on stage in LA because at first, a couple of the people who had told me they would put me on in LA didn't remember they had said that to me. So,
Wow.
to remind them, I would remember you saw me at the Montreal Comedy Festival and told me you would start putting me on your comedy club. And he said, "Oh, I did? Oh, okay." Yeah, okay. Well, okay. And Montreal Comedy Festival had a pretty good reputation at the time,
Right.
especially. So they said, "All right, we'll try you back up there and make sure you're still good." So I remember just thinking, "Oh wow, this is a crazy business. What did I get into? I just moved my myself and my new wife out here, and now I'm not so sure what's going to happen." And so what I did was I kept going up at all the clubs that would have me and kept getting better and better in LA and made it my goal to get on one of those talk shows, late night talk shows, because at the time that was even more popular. There was no real social media at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure the internet was maybe the internet was going with emails and stuff, but the phones weren't like they were now.
Wasn't like
So
now. No, no
so yeah,
social
so it
media.
was yeah, and so now just getting a TV appearance would be a big deal. So I made it my goal to really perfect the perfect jokes for TV, and so. Maybe I was there. I guess it took about 2 years, and I was only yeah, so I was only about 24 when I had a chance to be on the Tonight Show. Jay Leno spotted me at the comedy club where he worked. He would work on his act at this comedy club, and he saw me there, and just by chance, I happened to be on the same night as him, and I came off stage, and he said, "Oh, hey, I'm getting ready to replace Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show. I think you'd be great for the show." And I couldn't believe it. I wasn't sure where this stand-up career was going to end up with me, but just performing around LA. And it wasn't a big paying thing to just perform in LA. You have to sort of perform around the country to make more money. So, anyways, when Jay told me that, I thought, wow, I just can't believe it. I may end up on TV after all, because you don't know if it's going to happen. Even though you go out there, you can work as I've seen really great people who've never been on anything, and
Hmm.
and so they're still out there struggling. So it was a mix of luck and also being prepared because I had been working for years on this on the TV jokes that I had been working on,
Right.
and once he saw them, he put me on. I think he had taken over the show in May, and I was on in July.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so I was on, and it was a big thrill. Everyone back in Montreal, friends and family, were all telling me they were watching and all that stuff, and it went really well. I remember after the show, after my mom saw the show on your time, I remember speaking to her. I guess it was that night. I must have spoken to her, and she said she saw the show and loved it, and then said, "So, are they giving you a sitcom?" Oh,
Isn't that
she
how it
did.
works?
So yeah. She thought you just go automatically to be the next Seinfeld. And I said,
Right.
"Well, I didn't get a sitcom. I just finished the show tonight, and you're
Right.
asking me if they're giving me a sitcom." So that's typical Jewish mother there. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so what are you getting out of this? What are we getting out of this?
Exactly. Yes.
I was like, well, take it easy. Let me just enjoy this one night.
Right.
So,
How many
so,
times were you on, Jay Leno?
and so this was back in the 90s when it was really early on when Jay Leno took over. So I was one of the first comedians he had put on the Tonight Show when he took it over from Johnny Carson. And so I had done it 5 times.
Wow.
I was scheduled for more, but then they had a new producer come in who wanted to sort of pick their own comedians rather than the producer that I was friendly with.
Right.
And so that's how that business kind of works. I did get 5 appearances, and it led to just more work around the United States mainly. And clubs would see me or want to get their name plugged on my, here, here's Jeff playing. He'll be playing at Giggles at this club in Seattle or wherever it was. So a lot of clubs were hiring me from those appearances, and uh, and I ended up having a career just performing. And I would get shows where I would open for other stars and people in Vegas, and so it led to a lot of work around the country. But then I decided to after a certain age, I decided, you know what, I don't know if I just want to perform stand-up comedy. I couldn't get a sitcom. I had auditioned, and I even had the same managers at one point as Jerry Seinfeld, and
Hmm.
they told me I could be the next Seinfeld.
Right.
I was very excited, and then I never heard from them again. But they they were too busy with Seinfeld.
Right.
He was very popular on his show at the time, at the sitcom he had, and I thought I could get one too, but they were too busy with him, I think. And I decided, you know what? I don't know if the stand-up thing. I don't if I just want to keep doing that, touring and touring and touring. So I decided to settle into writing and became a writer for other comedians. And I even worked on a couple of shows, even went back to Canada to work on a TV show that wasn't a hit, but it was a nice gig and a great place to learn script writing and things like that. And it was a great time. So
Did you have to live in Canada for that, or did you?
I did. I had to stay in Canada for that because they were shooting the show in Canada. It was a comedy, and actually, it was made from Canadians who had moved to the United States and then came back to Vancouver. It was a show in Vancouver, and it was about the music industry, a comedy. It was going to be a comedy about the music industry, and so uh, we were going to have real rock stars play themselves, real musicians play themselves, but then a lot of them didn't have a sense of humor, so a lot of them backed out of it, and then the show just kind of didn't do well. It was very funny. The stuff we wrote was great, but and a good experience. So I did that for a good half a year. I would go back and forth to LA and Vancouver. So I still had my roots in Canada and able to still do some work in Canada. And yeah, so over the years, in fact, recently I've still been writing for a show called Roast Battle Canada.
Hmm.
I was writing a lot of roast jokes for the hosts and the judges, like Russell Peters is one of the judges on there. And
Right.
so I would write all sorts of jokes for them to insult each other during the show and things like that. And we were nominated, I know, for some awards. We never won because I think our stuff was too mean. And I'm not even sure why we were nominated because they were just I mean, really, stuff that would get anyone else canceled in this world. But we were able to just because of the nature of this show, it was of course encouraged to write very offensive humor. So I've been still keeping in touch with Canada in that way, still doing some writing. So, but I had written for Jeff Dunham was a big uh, I guess, client of mine as a writer. He became a huge hit in the 2000s, like internationally, and sold out everywhere. We even went to Israel together. He did a show there, and we got to tour the country. So yeah, so Jeff been working a lot with Jeff Dunham closely, contributing material for his specials and things like that. And I've written for things like the Grammy Awards, and I've written for Steve Martin and on and on. But yeah, so I've had a great career doing both stand-up and writing, and I still do both. I mainly make my living now as a writer, but I still do the stand-up thing just for fun around town. And in fact, I go to the same club Jay Leno still performs in, where he discovered me, and it's called the Comedy and Magic Club. It's in Hermosa Beach, but not too far from LA. And so yeah, I mean, I was going to say that's it in a nutshell, but it kind of went on for a while there.
Well,
But
it's a for me this is great catching up, and I think it's great for the people to who are going to be at our show and to really get to know you. And
great.
growing up together, I remember so many people saying, "You're going to be a comedian? Make me laugh."
Yes,
And
yes, that's right. Yeah, I still get that. I still get people saying, they want me to come up with something funny on the spot, and of course, there's no way. And so I know I don't even try anymore. Because it never works. Even if you do try to do some sort of joke on the spot, when you're told that, it's just not going to happen. And yeah, comedy is a weird thing. I learned over the years that yeah, it has to be in the right place, the right time, and or it has to come up like naturally. You can't just say be funny and then everyone's waiting.
yeah,
So yeah, but if it comes up naturally, then people will laugh.
and you guys you hone your skit, your
Yeah.
routine over
Yes.
years, like you said, like it's just something that
Oh,
you
yeah.
perfect over time.
Yeah, one joke that I can take years to be, and you don't even realize it. You think, oh, this is good enough, and then you realize, oh, that's even better the more you do it. And so you'll see comedians like Seinfeld, people who really take it seriously, which is funny to say, but
Hmm.
Seinfeld takes comedy seriously. Steve Martin took his comedy seriously when I worked with him because they want to do a good job, and sometimes the right word makes a difference in a joke. The timing of it, of course, and so many factors. And so what you do, the more you work on it, the better you get at figuring out the situation. And it becomes more natural because it actually feels very unnatural when people. This is why people are afraid to get up and speak in front of an audience, or to give a speech, or to try comedy, because yeah, it's scary
Yeah,
because it feels very unnatural. You're having a conversation
yeah,
with an audience. It's you, and it feels very unnatural. It doesn't feel like a real conversation
yeah.
between two people. So you have to get used to that. And once you feel natural and you feel more comfortable, the audience also feels the same. So yeah, all that stuff makes a difference. And so you have to learn it by experiencing it. They do have some places that teach comedy, and they give you some basics that are helpful and may help you skip a step or two, but not much.
Hmm.
You main work you got to do is put in your 10,000 hours of getting up there and doing it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bad crowd or a bad place or a bad situation, those are probably even more helpful in helping you deal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel good when you bomb, of course, but that does still happen. And, not
Well, it's
much.
not going to happen on our evening. That's for
No, 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 no. That's no guaranteed.
sure. That's
I
right.
mean, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. When I say guarantee, you're not getting money back because this is going to a good cause. But I guarantee I'll give you my best material, best shot. I'm going to do my best. I'm
Well,
really looking forward to getting back home. And
I really appreciate you taking the time and giving us a brief history of your life and how you transitioned from the West Island to LA, and we look forward to you coming back. And thanks for the time. I know you're going to make us a few funny skits. No pressure on you, but
oh no, don't worry. No, I will be hilarious. Don't worry. Yeah, I want to do some promos. We want to make sure people come, and I want to get you laughing now. Yeah, we'll get some promos together to do some fun. Beth Tikva, it's time to laugh. We've had a rough few years here in
exactly.
our community, and anyway. I'm still part of it, believe it or not. I still root for the Habs. I I had my Expos hat here, but I misplaced it. I still have an Expos hat. I know they're gone.
Yes.
And
Well,
oh, hey,
I think that's a cue. That's a cue for us to
just to
end
wrap it
this.
up, I guess. If the dogs have had enough, maybe they want to go out. Those are your dogs.
Those are my dogs. They're just going crazy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right,
Well,
Jeff. I'm going to
thank
stop
you.
the recording, but don't go away. And
Oh, thanks,
hold on
Jason.
one sec.
All right, looking forward to seeing you.
Hold on.